morning. It's such an incredible pleasure to be here today and to have this event take place. I was thinking about how do you thank people for doing something that's going to have such a lasting, long-term impact on students and our school district for years to come and the community. So we thank you so very much, but I think I just saw Tim Foster over there, so there's Tim, and I see Sarah. And we thank you all so much, and you know, all the different people who made a difference during the campaign, and we're going to get to hear from some of them today. But as you know, it really does take a village, and I know that's a kind of a catchphrase, but it's also a very true phrase and makes such a key difference, because I still am, you know, pinching myself from the fact that we won the election with such a large margin. That was really a strong statement about the people who worked together to, you know, create a plan of action that made such a profound difference that people felt comfortable with where their dollars were going and what a difference it would make for our students over time. So, you know, it's just, like I said, I don't know how you really adequately thank a community and the people who made such a difference in helping us with the campaign, because it just has such an impact on kids. And something like this certainly doesn't happen overnight. It's a thoughtful process that has a lot of valued input from a lot of great people. And so it's just incredible to be able to thank our entire community, and especially of those of you that are here today who put in the hours and time needed to really make this become a reality. And so I'm going to turn the program over to, actually, I'll say one more thing before I leave, as I'm getting ready to be a true short timer. You know, about 2 weeks from now, I'll be sitting in Nebraska watching my granddaughters play volleyball. And I'm pretty excited about that. But I will miss you all a great deal. I'm not good at doing this. I'm actually very good at crying, but I'm not very good at not being able to cry. So I'd like to welcome now our school board president, Andrea Heights, so that she can join me at the podium. And thank you, Andrea, for your service to District 51.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Circo. So if you would all join me, good morning. Let's give Dr. Circo a standing ovation, please, for all her service and dedication to District 51. We just want to congratulate you on your retirement and that you get to go spend time with your grandkids. And today would not have been possible without her strong leadership over these last few years. So again, just want to reiterate, thank you all for coming today. This is great to see our community out here supporting such a great building and what that building will really and house, which is our amazing students, staff, and teachers. I would like to also thank the past D51 board for having the courage to see the need and do the deed whenever it was needed. So thank you for getting this passed. I think Tom's over here. If we have any of our past board members, could you please just wave so we could congratulate you as well? So if you could join me in thanking them. That was Tom Parrish, Trish Mayer, Doug Levinson. I know John Williams was on the board for a while then too, and Dr. Amy Davis. So our current board is committed to seeing this great building through with the community and moving forward. We're also hoping that we really get under budget as well, hint, hint. So just so that we can continue to move forward with amazing projects here in our community. So last but not least, if you guys could join me in welcoming the Grand Junction High School Band that will lead us in the national anthem, led by Nicole Roos. So.
Thank you so much. Welcome to this wonderful day of celebration and new beginnings. We're so glad to see all of you here. I want to welcome some special guests and supporters at this point, starting off with our long-range planning committee, which was made up of over 50 community members, School District 51 leaders, coming together saying, we need this, and recognizing that need. I also want to welcome our school board, both past and present, elected officials who I see here today gathered with us, our bond executive committee that includes FCI, BG and Company, the DLR group, and many others listed on the back page of your program. I also specifically want to thank the team from the BEST grant who provided $10 million for this project, and what a big difference that makes. I'd also like to welcome and point out D51 Director of Maintenance and Operations, Eric Nielsen, and his entire team who have helped keep Grand Junction High School stay open while enduring floods, a crumbling foundation, gas leaks, you name it, they took care of it. Thank you. I also want to recognize the Grand Junction High School early morning Monday team and teachers who helped put things together and get us connected. I'd like to thank the Yes on GJHS campaign committee and specifically MVEA for their support in this project. And more than anything, as I look around here and see all of these people who are about as excited as I am, I want to thank the members of our community. Those are people who are campaign volunteers, campaign donors. You can't run an election without donations to a campaign. And all of you who are here today who know the key role that strong, well-supported public schools make in a community. Thank you. And when I think about the heart of our why we did this, why we put in the hours, I can't help but think of the Grand Junction High School past students, present students, and those students in the future who will be so touched and inspired by this new school. It is my pleasure now to introduce a friend and definitely champion of our school district, Dan Prinster, who has not only served as the president of the School District 51 Foundation, the campaign chair of the 2019 bond campaign to get Grand Junction High School passed. He also has his wife, Elise, who's been a D51 teacher for 15 years, but potentially most important, he is a 1980 graduate of Grand Junction High School.
I'm glad she didn't include my class ranking when she stated that. Yeah, and as a Tiger, it's great to see all the orange and black. Love it. Well, you know, a little bit about the building that is going to still be used for a little while we build the new one. For those who don't know, the building that you see behind us was built in 1956, and it was built to replace a 44-year-old high school that was located over at 9th and Chipeta. Some of you might remember that building. In 1956, with the new gym, the large auditorium, and the numerous classrooms, the school was the pride of Grand Junction. Over the years, there's been some additions to the building, and there's been outbuildings that have been constructed. It's aged, it's sagged a little bit, it's got weak in the knees, it's suffered some plumbing problems. You know, aging is tough on both buildings and humans. But for over 6 decades, the school has fulfilled its role as a place of learning. Tens of thousands of kids have graduated as Tigers. to become doctors and nurses, lawyers and businessmen and businesswomen, elected officials, nonprofit leaders, and wonderful contributors to this community. Will all of the Grand Junction graduates who are here today please raise your hand? All right. We've got quite a few, and you're going to hear from a few more. So the current vision statement for the high school, yes, Megan, I did go in and read the vision statement in the handbook that she wrote, says, where all students have an opportunity to pursue a challenging program of study and activities to develop their full potential. The old building fulfilled that vision. The new one will even carry that vision further. And to tell you a little bit about the new building, Angela's going to come back up and share a little bit about what you're going to see built by FCI.
Thank you, Dan. A big part of our presentation today is really to honor the past of Grand Junction High School and the long history, and then to look toward the future. If you had a chance to get the flyer, or when you walk out today, you can grab it. But there are a lot of key aspects of this new build. Some of those include having 3 stories. We'll be preserving the auxiliary gym and class gifts. As all of us know, safety is a top priority, and this building will definitely make a difference with that. And my favorite one I listed is a strong foundation. And I mean that on a couple of different levels. Literally, a strong foundation, which is so important, and a strong foundation for generations and generations of community members, students, all throughout Mesa County. And we're so excited for that. It's my pleasure now to introduce another champion for our schools and our incoming D51 Superintendent, Dr. Brian Hill.
All right, good morning, y'all. How you feeling? It's a celebration. I'm Brian Hill. I'm the proud Assistant Superintendent of D51. Today is an exciting day for the future of D51, and I want to thank the community for making today possible. Heading into this new position as a superintendent at D51, and as I look out into the crowd today, I'm inspired and I'm humbled because I know there is support through our community of Mesa County for public education in D51. A strong public education system is the key to the future for our students, and the future for our thriving community and local economy. Our D51 school board recently passed a new strategic plan with a unanimous 5-0 vote, a plan that was community-driven throughout the process of its creation, and we're excited about that because the new strategic plan will serve as our North Star for years to come. And that plan states that D51 will focus our efforts on having prepared and supported students, prepared and supported staff, and engaged and supportive community partners. The building of a new state-of-the-art Grand Junction High School will help us move one step closer to those 3 focus areas and the goals set out in the strategic plan. Because in order to have prepared and supported students and staff, we have to give them the resources that they need to be successful. We have amazing staff throughout D51, and especially here at Grand Junction High School. Can we give our staff a round of applause? And we have amazing students throughout this community, and the Tigers are no exception. And we can give them all the tools and resources necessary to achieve their potential: books, technology, professional development, etc. But we can't overlook the impact that a state-of-the-art 21st century facility can have on the success of our students and staff. We are preparing and supporting them even more so by breaking ground today on a new Grand Junction High School. But that isn't possible without the 3rd focus area of the strategic plan: engaged and supportive community partners. And that's you in this crowd today, and the over 60% of Mesa County voters who approved the bond in November to make today possible. You said yes on GJHS, and we thank you again for believing in D51 and for being a part of the D51 family through your support. Our D51 vision is to engage, equip, and empower each and every student each and every day, and our mission is that D51 engages our community, families, and staff to deliver individualized, collaborative, and challenging educational experiences to prepare each and every student for their brightest future. A bright future that includes a beautiful performing arts center, high-quality athletic facilities, flexible learning spaces, and hands-on maker spaces. A bright future that includes space for the 4 academy offerings in the areas of arts and humanities, business and entrepreneurship, engineering, tech, natural resources, health sciences, and human services. A bright future that includes space for expanded P-Tech options and concurrent enrollment classes through our partnership with CMU and WCCC. I want to say a special thank you to President Foster and Brigetta Sunderman for your vision and support for these programs, and to President Marshall for your continued support of these programs for our students at D51. And also special thanks to the CMU trustees who recently approved the Learn for Less initiative, which is going to help our students take advantage of those classes for an even lower cost. I can't wait to see our Tigers walking across the street for the new Grand Junction High School to take classes for free at CMU, or hopping onto the bus to take classes for free at WCCC. That's what prepared and supported students and staff looks like, and that's what engaged and supportive community partners feels like. I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about the future of D51 and the future of our greater community, and specifically the future of Grand Junction High School. And to quote Peter Thiel, today's best practices lead to dead ends. The best paths are new and untried. And we say that the best way to predict the future is to invent it. So thank you for believing in D51. Thank you for creating a space for our Grand Junction High School students and staff to create new and untried paths. And thank you for supporting our D51 students as they invent the future in a facility that intentionally promotes that future invention. Thank you for being a part of the D51 family. And today and every day I say, GJ all day. Thank you.
All right. Well, next I'd like to introduce the 2 campaign chairs for the Yes on Grand Junction High School campaign. The bond would have never been successful without their leadership. The first person probably needs no introduction. He recently retired as president of Colorado Mesa University. He's a celebrated community leader, former state representative, and I think a 1976 graduate of Grand Junction High School, Tim Foster. Second person you might be a little less familiar about, and that's because she's always got her head down working on a new project for the community. Sarah Schrader is the co-CEO of Bonsai Design, president of the District 51 Foundation, and an instructor at CMU. Both spent countless hours providing the critical leadership needed to convince the voters, as you heard, 60% support for the new high school. Tim, Sarah?
Well, we're so glad to be here. This is such a great day. And before I start, I just want to raise your hand if you're a teacher. Let's give all the teachers here a round of applause for everything they've done for our kids over the last couple of years. It's been, yeah. So, as you all know, I'm a business owner, faculty at CMU, active community member, but most importantly, I'm a mom to 3 teenage boys. And they're all educated in D51. And I was lucky enough to co-chair the Yes on GJHS campaign with my friend Tim. Today we're here to celebrate this incredible moment in our community's history, a new high school at the center of the valley that reflects the importance of the future of our children and our society. Because of the support of everyone here, we're giving teachers, students, administrators, and families at Grand Junction High School a high-quality facility that matches the level of dedication, grit, and determination they demonstrate every day. Tim and I started this process in early 2021 with the guidance of then school board president Tom Parrish and school board member Doug Levinson. Immediately, a campaign team assembled. Dan Prinster, Bernie Busher, Joy Hudak, Quint Shear, Krista Brill, Kira Bresnahan, Megan Renicky, Doug Simmons Jr., Tawny Kelly, and Andrea Creeves met weekly for over 6 months, organizing and strategizing. Brian Hill and Diana Circo rolled up their sleeves and in their own time helped support the campaign, responding to late-night texts and phone calls.
We hired the superstar Daniel Haas, who's a D51 grad. Daniel, are you here today? To manage the campaign. And of course, D51 Foundation Executive Director Angela Christensen kept Tim and I on track for the entire campaign. We couldn't have done this without her early morning to-do lists, reminders, and endless optimism. Thank you, Angela. Pretty soon, widespread support stretched all over the valley. Doug and Jamie Simmons held the first fundraiser at their home in early summer, and the Christy Reese Group, Community Hospital, Liz Meyer, and the Wrights and Griffin families followed suit, raising thousands and thousands of dollars for yard signs, campaign materials, billboards, and media. Daily Sentinel columnist Jim Spahar dedicated much of his writing to promote the campaign, and dozens of citizens, many of you, wrote letters to the editor supporting Grand Junction High School. All 3 county commissioners expressed vocal support, and we received proclamations from the Town Council of Palisade, City Council of Fruita, the City Council of Grand Junction. Joel Dyer produced an outstanding commercial with the help of the Lynch family, the Gear family, Lori Buck, and Jake Aubert. Tim Couch and the MVEA were ardent supporters and partners of the campaign as well. Our volunteer team was led by the wonderful Andrea Creeves, and looking back, we credit this team and her leadership for the reason the campaign ended up being so successful and winning by a landslide. Our volunteers like Lois Leach and Sue Springer knocked on hundreds of doors. Grand Junction High School teachers like Christine Spillane, Steve Brown, Mark Wilson, Justin Whiteford went the extra mile. Daniel Farrell was an incredible student leader as he organized and recruited students for multiple canvassing events. Judy Spillane, Susan Williams, Jennifer Mays, and Kendra McDaniel staffed the campaign office for 2 months. 2 months, making calls, constructing, sorting, and delivering yard signs, and organizing and canvassing materials. And Jen Foster, Dana and Peter Booth, Amber Gregerson, and Hannah Boomitar gave time repeatedly in multiple ways throughout this campaign. You see the trend here, right? We had widespread support from all of you, and our community really rallied together. And finally, many of you know that the 76 Group, one of the most successful political strategy firms in the state of Colorado, donated all of their time to work with us on this campaign. Led by D51 alumni Jake Zambrano and Josh Penry, the 76 Group helped us with polling, messaging, and in the end, winning. When the bond passed by an overwhelming majority in November, it was clear that the citizens of the Grand Valley believe that public education is an investment in our future, that public schools are the heart of our society. They are the mortar that holds our community together. They are where children learn collaboration, hard work, persistence, resilience, and mastery. And those children grow up to be adults that become healers, leaders, helpers, providers, parents, and engaged citizens. Today, many of you stand here as longtime supporters because you care about public education and the impact it has on not only our economy, but our social connectedness. Each of you is responsible for promoting the value of our public schools as the foundation of a successful and thriving community. Thank you, all of you, for what you do to make our schools stronger, and thank you for voting yes on GJHS. And lastly, I just want to say a few words of thanks to my campaign partner, Tim Foster. Most of you know that although Tim and I have been friends for over almost 2 decades, we don't agree on everything. You should see our text messages about national politics. It's quite funny. But this campaign was truly a pleasure to work on with Tim. And if any of you are lucky enough to call him a friend, he will do anything for you or your family, day or night. Tim, I am grateful for your leadership, your passion for our community, but most of all, your friendship. Tim Foster.
I think you can tell that we are the left and the right of Colorado or Mesa County politics. I will not be nearly as lengthy as Sarah. Thank goodness, right? I think that speakers in this setting are like a corpse at a funeral. You have to have them, but you hope they don't say too much, right? But first and foremost, Diana, thank you for leading this district at a very difficult time, at a time when I think the confidence in our school district was an all-time low. And so thank you for steering us through this and helping us get to this point. So round of applause, please. And probably one of your best moves is attracting Brian Hill, although he's from Texas, to help us be here. One person that we've talked about a little bit that I just want to suggest to you all, if you get a chance, to give him a thumbs up, and that is when you're elected in this community and sitting in office and then advocate for a tax increase, that's difficult. And Cody Davis went way out on a limb and was very active in advocating for this high school. And so if you see Cody, I don't think he's here today, but if you see him and get a chance, shoot him a note and tell him thank you, because I think that was a real step forward for him. I do think it's interesting that people always characterize Mesa County as not caring about education or what have you, and I think that is absolutely not the case. I think this community supports education. If you think about Grand Junction High School and Central High School being built in the 50s, back when this community was probably more conservative and built at the same time, I think that's a reflection of the fact that if done right, this community supports education in a big way. And so as we started, my goal, and I think everybody thought it was not possible, was to get to 60% plus, which in fact we did with the help of 2 Grand Junction High School grads. We talked about Jake Zambrano and Josh Penry. How could I forget that name, right? But now the job really falls to the school board, because it is, how do we provide, how do we deliver a high quality school on time, and now emphasis under budget. And unfortunately, that falls to you, Andrea, that falls to you, Angela, it falls to Will, it falls to Doug, it falls to Carrie to try and bring that home. And so hopefully we can all coalesce around on time, under budget, high quality. And so thank you all for supporting it. We're going to do great things, and I think next up is Camille, right? But I guess Dan or Angela's going to introduce you. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. In continuing with our looking toward the future and also honoring the past, we've asked Camille Dewana to come up and give us a few words of wisdom and what she hopes to see happen at Grand Junction High School. She was born in Ghana, immigrated with her family for a better life and for education. And so we're thrilled to have you with us today.
Hi, I'm Camille Dewana, and I'm a student from Grand Junction High School, and I'm here to talk about the new school building. When I was writing this speech, one thing that I kind of thought about is the new school is not just gonna change. It's gonna bring new life and new opportunity to students. It's gonna bring better life and better school resources. So basically, I'm from Ghana, and my parents always try to give me the best education they can. Even though it feels like I go to this private school and paying all this money, I didn't have the resources I needed to become a better student. And one thing my mom told me before I started high school, she said, go out there and come out with flying colors. And that's the same way I feel about the new school, because the new school is going to bring new life and new opportunity to students. And lastly, every parent wants to give their kids the best education they need, And I feel like, yes, not every kid who goes to Grand Junction High School wants to, want to have high education. Others will follow a different path, But giving us the education we need and the resources we need and the technology we need, it's really important. And lastly, thank you to everyone who voted yes on GJHS, and thank you for listening.
I mean, there's so many people to thank. The list goes on, but this really was community driven, and so we're appreciative of the community for stepping up, being behind our district and our students, and being part of the D51 family. And we thank you for your support in passing this bond.
It's so wonderful to see our community have such great support for this school and this beautiful facility for teachers and students to receive a cutting-edge education. It's really, this is like a true joy as a community member and the campaign manager.
I'd now like to introduce one of our families that has 3 generations of Grand Junction High School graduates. They also were the face of the 2019 campaign, and I've asked Tom Coit, class of 1958, Megan Yonker, class of 1989, and Mackenzie Yonker, class of 2019, and also the former head girl of Grand Junction High School, to share a couple of words.
All right. As Generation Z, I will be reading off my phone because that only felt fitting. And I honestly just forgot to print it off. So, as the Grand Junction head girl, class of 2019, it is with great honor to be able to stand beside my mom, Megan Yonker, class of, as I already said, 1989, and my grandpa, Tom Coit, class of 58. This has been a day long coming for our community, and it is truly amazing to see the resiliency our community has shown to be here today. This day marks a monumental day, not just for Grand Junction family and students, but for everyone in the Valley. As a third-generation Tiger, it is with great pride to know that when I choose to return to the Grand Valley, my kids will be able to attend this high school and have even more opportunities and an even greater experience than I did. I would like to start off by thanking Angela Christensen for inviting us to be here today and for her dedication and commitment to this bond campaign. We would not be here today if it weren't for you. I remember when the results first came out in 2019 when the bond didn't pass. Instead of being discouraged, Angela turned towards everybody and said, "It's okay, we're gonna get it next time." And a few years later, here we are today. Although our building is being demolished, the memories and the history within the walls will still remain. And the good old age saying, Tiger Pride. Never have I felt more Tiger Pride than today. And all my years of athletics, I'm gonna start getting emotional, at Grand Junction, and all my years of standing up on the rails at football games, chanting GJ all day, and singing the fight song after every Tiger football game, never have I been more proud to be a Tiger than today. This building represents so much more than just a school. This building represents the unity within the Grand Valley and the power we can have when we come together. Thank you to every person that voted yes. We would not be here today if it weren't for you. And thank you to every student, even though they couldn't vote, to take part in the campaign and did as little as just start a conversation and advocate on this bond's behalf. You are part of the reason why we are standing here today, and never underestimate or think you are too young to leave an impact on your community. Our community saw the change needed within the high school and rallied together, and there are 2 words I want to stress on, which is resiliency and legacy. In my time at Grand Junction, we saw fires, floods, mice, falling walls, and many other tragedies, but yet our school still persevered. In the midst of COVID-19, School District 51 did its best to be resilient and persevere to ensure that every student had access to the tools they needed to be successful. The school has seen 3 generations, and it has served its purpose very well. But 3 generations has been enough. The idea is not to live forever, but to create something that will. This is our legacy that our community will leave behind. And although it makes me sad to think this high school is being torn down, what makes up Grand Junction is not the building, but the administration, teachers, students, staff, and coaches. This building is our future, and Grand Junction will finally have a building to represent the intelligent individuals within its walls. May this building be a learning center for future students to prosper and trace their dreams to become future mayors, congressmen, senators, doctors, CEOs, and many other professions that will take part of the growth of our community, who will return to Mesa County Valley and give back to the community because of what it's given to them. This building does not just represent Tiger Pride, but it represents Grand Valley Pride. Thank you.
I have the yearbook for the first year. I only brought that so people would realize that I did get through Grand Junction High. But anyway, I think the looking at this building, pictures of it, I think it's going to be a real plus for Grand Junction. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Tom, Megan, Mackenzie. Albert Einstein said, "Learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow." Megan Renicky, principal at Grand Junction High School, has been living that quote for the past couple years. She has taken the learnings from the old building and turned them into improvements that will be incorporated in the new building. She kept teachers and students engaged in her aging school that suffered one failure after another. I hadn't heard about the mice. I did hear about the pigeons. And she never gave up hope. She was always at the meetings. She was always supportive, and she was a real inspiration for the whole committee. So with that, Megan.
Good morning. To extend the metaphor, I guess I'm the last corpse that speaks before we get to the good stuff. So I have the privilege of being the current principal of Grand Junction High School, but the really amazing thing about Grand Junction High School, and I love the way Mackenzie worded it, it's about so much more than just a building. And I get to introduce you to a bunch of really important people today, but I also want to introduce you to the principals who came before me that have been able to be here today and let you know that we plan on continuing this Tiger tradition of excellence, and we look forward to a new building, and thank you all so much. So when I say your name, if you're not standing, I'm going to need you to stand and wave. If you're standing, you're going to need to wave and maybe turn to the crowd. So I first want to introduce the former principals of Grand Junction High School. Joni Edmonds was principal from 1996 to 1999. Virginia Settle, principal from 1999 to 2002. Unfortunately, Kevin Schott passed away last March, but he was principal from 2002 to 2007, so if we could give him a round of applause. And then we have John Bilbo, who I think made the brilliant decision to hire me. He's over here. From 2007 to 2014. And last but not least, Ari Goldberg, who is not here today, but he was here from 2015 to 2018. Now I'd like to introduce you to all of the super important people who have played such a huge role in making this campaign and building a success. I'll start with Dr. Diana Serco, Dr. Brian Hill, Tim Foster, Sarah Schrader, Bernie Busher, Eric Nielsen, Andrea Heitz, Tom Parrish, Doug Simmons Jr., Dr. Angela Christensen, Tim Couch, who's over there, Andrea Creeves, and Quint Shear. One last round of applause for everyone who made this a reality.
Two.